So review of our tests that we had on the 17th of March 2024, both part-time and distance. The section A is true or false. Question number 1. Cost should only include those which vary with quantity. True or false? That is false. Cost should include both the fixed and the variable cost. That is the reason why our total cost function is given by total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Number 2, the demand of a product rises whenever the price falls. Ceteris paribus. The demand of a product will go up whenever the price goes down. Holding on things constant, that is false. The demand rises whenever price falls. So this statement contradicts with the law of demand, which states that for quantity demanded, that quantity demanded increases as price decreases. So the law of demand simply says as quantity increases from this point to this point, the price will decrease. Okay. So it is false. The statement contradicts with the law that says that quantity demanded increases as price decreases. Ceteris paribus, holding all things constant. So here, the demand of a product rises whenever price falls. It's false. So when the demand for a product is tied to the purchase of some parent product, when the demand of a product is tied to the price of the parent product, its demand is called the induced demand. This is true. So it is true because this is exactly what describes induced demand, where the demand of one product is influenced by demand of other related products. That is what we call induced demand. Total revenue falls as the price of a good rises if price elasticity of demand is inelastic. So the total revenue falls.
Sorry, Collins, on number 3, which products would be induced? What products can you put there?
So induced products, when demand for product is tied to the purchase of the parent product, it is called induced demand. So induced demand is, for instance, the demand for fuel is tied to purchasing a car. So it is induced demand because you have a car, inevitably, you will need what? Fuel. So that is like a complement. It is induced from the parent product. All right. So I don't know that that is clear.
Okay, so it will be like a complementary product?
Yes, there's a complementary product. It's induced because it's incomplete without the other. It is induced. For instance, induced demand. There are companies like what company is that? Maybe even your company, but I want to give a company that provides these lifts, Syncit Atlas Corp. So it installs a lift at your company. So inevitably, already, you know that there will be induced demand for the services because they have made it in such a way that only the technicians can work on faults. So that is induced demand. It's tied to the parent product. You get it, eh?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Is that clear?
Yes, clear.
All right, okay. So question number 4. Revenue falls as the price of a good increases if price elasticity of demand is inelastic. That is false. So the revenue will increase if total revenue falls if the price of the good increases. So this is what happens with total revenue. Okay, we know that this is our so we have 3 points there. Demand would be unit elastic. Demand would be greater than 1. Elastic demand would be less than 1. Okay. So what happens is if the price decreases, not increases, the revenue will increase when the demand is elastic. But here, the total revenue is falling as the price of the good increases when the demand is inelastic. That is to the opposite. So inelastic means the total revenue will increase as the price increases. Inelastic simply means that the demand simply means that the total revenue will increase as the price increases. So the situation of inelasticity is simply of insensitivity. So I usually give the example of Zesco. So when the price of Zesco goes up, the total revenue will go up because people have no option, they'll buy either way. But in a situation where we're dealing with an elastic situation, for instance, bread, we have two competitors, ShopRite and Pick n Pay. If the price of ShopRite bread goes up, just be rest assured that the demand, the total revenue for bread in ShopRite will go down. Why? Because people will switch because demand is elastic. Inelastic, in short, is a situation whereby there's no alternative available. Okay. So Monday, who has ordinary shape influence in different scales, buys 16 kilograms of salt each year. When the price doubles, Monday continues to purchase the same amount of salt. So salt is neither an inferior good or a normal good. That is false. So if Monday continues to buy the same amount of salt despite the price increase, it implies that salt is a necessity for Monday. It is neither an inferior or normal good, it's a necessity. So regardless of our income, we still buy the same amount of salt or sugar. So a necessity usually, of course, elasticity is between 0 and 1. It's one that regardless of your income, you still buy it. Are we together? You don't buy too much salt because your income has gone up. All right. Question number 6. Deadweight loss arises when price ceiling or price floors are implemented. Yes. So in a scenario where we have equilibrium here, so when we have a price ceiling and the floor price, these ones will create column X and Y. These triangles are what we call deadweight. So it is true that they occur due to the interventions of government through floor prices and price ceilings. Question number 7, consumer surplus is everything above the supply curve, but below the price. No, consumer surplus is everything below the demand curve, but above the equilibrium. This is called the consumer surplus. Producer surplus is everything below the equilibrium, but above the supply curve. This is the supply curve. So consumer surplus is the area above the equilibrium of the market price, but below the demand curve. Okay, this is our consumer surplus. Any questions so far? Are we on the same page? Can I proceed? Okay. We're clear. Can I proceed?
Yes.
So proceed to the next question, which reads, question number 8. Fijo makes 500 kwacha per week and spends all his income on 2 products, tea and books. Books cost 25 and Fijo buys 6 each week. Tea costs 5 per cup and Fijo buys 25 cups. When the income falls to 450, he cuts his consumption to buy 3 books and 5 more cups of tea. The books are inferior goods. Is that true or false? The books are inferior goods. Is that true or false? So here we're looking at what? The income effect. So in this case, you need to understand how to come up with the demand equation. So we have the following equation here. We have the following scenario. So Fijo has a debate between books. So we can call books letter B and tea letter T. So we're told that he has 500 to spend on books and tea. So how the books cost what? 25 kwacha. So this is 25. And tea, and he buys 16 of them. And tea costs 5 kwacha, so 5 kwacha. So our demand equation already is 500 is equal to what? 25 books plus 5 tea. So if we're going to illustrate this one, remember how to illustrate, divide by the intercepts. So we can let our T be here, maybe our books be there. So to know where to cut the T, 5 into 500, it to cut at 100. So we can buy 100 units of T. Then to know where to cut the books, 5 into 50, we're going to get, what are we getting? 20. So 20 units of books. So now we are told that Fijo buys, for the books, he buys 16 each week. So 16 each week. Okay. Then for the tea, he buys 20. 20. So ideally, we put 16 under the books here. So 16 times 25. Then from 500 divided by 5. Corresponds to 20. So at this point, we're told now when Fijo's income falls to 450. So there's a 4 from 500 is a budget of 500 to 450 here. So there'll be a shift inwards here. So our budget instead of be 450 is got what? 25 books plus 5 T. These ones are remaining the same. So our intercept here will be 5 into 450, we get 90. 25 into 450, we get 18. So here we have 90 here and 18. So the consumption will the consumption he cuts his consumption by what? By 5 more cups. So these books are inferior goods. So it has nothing to do with inferior goods. This is called the income effect. Generally, when you cut off your consumption, you're going to cut on some things. So this is what we call the income effect. So they are not inferior goods, but he reduces his consumption when the income falls. So that's an income effect. Are we following? And we go to the next question based on scenario in question 25. Tea is a necessity. No, tea is not a necessity since Fijo will buy more cups of tea when his income goes up. So tea is actually a normal good. A normal good is a good that we buy more of as our income goes up and less of if our income decreases. Based on the same question, books are luxury goods and tea is an inferior good. Okay, so this is true. The books are luxury good because Fijo will reduce his consumption when the income falls, whilst tea is an inferior because Fijo will buy more cups when his income falls. So we're told that he will increase his tea by 5 cups. Okay, so tea is an inferior good. So why is the tea an inferior good? Because he buys more cups when his income falls. So usually when our income is depleted, we'll rather switch to what? To Salaula or within our budget. But if our income decreases, what happens to luxurious goods? We cut off luxurious goods. No more what? No more Irish tea. No more, you cut off luxurious goods. If you're using Yango Comfort, you just go to the norm. Then we go to the one answer section, section B. So here, managerial economics is a branch of what? Microeconomics. So just put micro, the economics is there. So managerial economics deals with the application of economic concepts and decision sciences. So in a case of Veblen goods, okay, what are Veblen goods? These are luxurious goods where the demand increases as price increases and also decreases as price decreases. So you want to be the only one having them. They become Veblen goods, okay, from the Latin person Veblen. Okay, Einstein Veblen. So in a case of Veblen goods, a fall in price will lead to a decrease or a fall or a reduction in demand. So people want to be attached to prestige. So if you hear you have a Lamborghini, which is very cheap, you not buy it. So this is mostly prestige. High price is what attracts the customers. Okay. So I was putting comments, just additional comments, just to help you as you study. Are we following so far? Any questions? Are we following? Any questions?
Yes, we are following.
All right. So if price elasticity of demand is 0.75, the demand is what? Inelastic. So we know the range. Okay. Between 0 and -1, it is inelastic. Exactly 1, it is unit elastic. Bigger than 1, it is elastic. So it is price elasticity of demand is known to be inelastic if it's less than 1. So dash cost is a cost that does not vary with activity. It's a fixed cost. Fixed cost is fixed. All right. I'll just explain in the morning any additional. Marginal cost is the extra cost or producing an extra unit of output. Marginal cost. So margin refers to addition. Absence of the movement in economics is called equilibrium. So people were using wrong spellings here. I think IU. So he's going to correct this, but all right. So equilibrium is a state where there is no tendency for change. Dash is a degree to which changes in prices affect demand and supply. So elasticity, which measures the responsiveness of demand or quantity or supply to changes in price. When demand exceeds supply, when there's more demand than supply, we have a shortage. Other than saying deficit, well, is admissible. Yeah. So a shortage occurs when quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied in a given price. Dash, the demand for a product is more inelastic for the poorer. If the available substitutes, demand is inelastic. So demand for a product is more inelastic when there are fewer substitutes. Inelastic means you have no other option. If a resource can be used to produce either good A and good B, if a resource can be used to produce either good A or good B, then A and B are substitutes. If you have flour, which is used to produce scones and bread. So scones and bread could be what? Substitutes. So substitutes are goods that can be used in place of the other. So we're done with the second section. Are we together? So we go to section C. So we're going to give multiple choice. Which of the following best describes the law of demand? So the law of demand simply when the price increases, the quantity demanded decreases. I should have put all the options so that you're able to go through. Price increases, quantity demanded decreases. So when price increases, quantity demanded decreases, this is a statement that represents a law of demand. In a planned economy, we discussed this in the morning, all economic decisions are decided by the government. How about the private sector? Which economy is it? Which economy is decided for by the private sector? A free economy.
Market.
Then if you have both command and free economy, so this we discussed. All right. Question 25 and 3, the quantity demanded for Coca-Cola has decreased. The best explanation for this is that price of Coca-Cola has decreased. The quantity demanded for Coca-Cola has decreased. The best explanation is the law of demand, because Coca-Cola consumers have seen that the price has gone up. So Coca-Cola, they're not advertising effectively, or there's a Pepsi. So here it means that the price has gone up. That's why they've demanded less of it. So price of Coca-Cola, according to the law, it's a decrease in quantity demanded, which is associated with an increase in price. Question 24, when the increase in price of one good causes the decrease for the other good, the goods are called substitutes. Substitutes are goods where the increase in price of one good results in decrease in demand. So substitute goods can be used in place of the other. So a decrease in price for one good means people will demand that good. Ultimately, there will be a decrease in demand for the other good. So this is called a substitute. All right. If the demand for coffee increases and income increases, coffee is what? normal good. I think I mentioned this in the morning. Just look at if these are the same. Increase, increase, decrease, decrease, it's a normal good. So coffee, if your income goes down, then you demand less of coffee. Coffee is a normal good. But if your income goes down, you're buying more coffee. Coffee should be an inferior good. You're going to eat because it has become cheap. Sorry, I mentioned this late after the report submitted. Two explanations for the law of demand are substitution and income effects. So these two explain why the law of demand holds true. Then 7, the market for coffee was initially in equilibrium with supply and demand curves of the usual shape. If Pepsi is a substitute for coffee, an increase in the price of Pepsi will decrease the price of coffee and decrease the quantity demanded for coffee. So an increase in the price of a substitute good ultimately decreases the demand for the other good. An increase in the price of a substitute. An increase in the price of a substitute will decrease demand for the other good. Question number 28. When the price of a product is increased by 10%, the quantity demanded decreases by 15%. This is called elastic. So if we increase good X by 10%, good Y will automatically decrease. But if the decrease is the same, means this is unit elastic. If the decrease is more, this is elastic. If decrease is small, like 5%, this is what? Inelastic. So this is unit, this is elastic, this is inelastic. All right. If the price elasticity of demand of a product is equal to 0.5, then a 10% decrease in price will, so it will increase quantity demand by 5%. So you multiply this to 0.5 times 10 is 5. So the opposite will happen. If there's a price increase, there'll be quantity demanded. If the price elasticity is 0.5 and 10% decrease in price, the opposite will happen, there'll be an increase by 5%. So 20%, 10%, you multiply these two. Question number 30. The demand for cornflakes is more elastic than the demand for cereals as a whole. This is explained by the fact that there are more substitutes for cornflakes than there are for cereal as a whole. So the availability of substitutes affects price elasticity of demand, which is true. So when demand for cornflakes is more elastic than the demand for cereals, it means this one is shaky. All right. This one is shaky. So demand for cornflakes is more elastic or it's more sensitive. So it means there are more available substitutes for cornflakes than there are for cereals. Okay, so if the demand for Corolla cars is more elastic than German cars, it means for German cars there are few substitutes around, so demand is inelastic. Lastly, section D, we're given 3 students have different demands. Msonda's demand is given by that. Mwelwa's demand is given by that. And Mavuto's demand is given by that. So we are asked to derive the market demand. So Q is equal to add these numbers here, 6 plus 4, 10 plus 5, 15. Then you add these ones here. 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 0.5, 3.5. So this is called our derived demand. Just add them there. That's how it got here. So remember, it's Q space equals space 15 space minus space 0.5 space and D. So this is how we come up with the derived demand. Okay, Juliet spends $480 in a month on Oreo cookies, which cost 20 kwacha, and salt and vinegar, which cost 30 kwacha per bag. So already we have our budget income is equal to price of Oreo times the number of Oreos plus price of what? Vinegar, and the price of vinegar. So we have 480, which is the income. The price of Oreo cookies is what? 20 kwacha, so 20 Oreo. Okay, plus vinegar, which costs 30, so 30 V. So suppose Juliet allocates all her resources on Oreo cookies. How many Oreos does he have to buy? So remember, we divide the intercepts. This could be Oreo and this could be vinegar. So we divide 20 into 480 for Oreo. 20 into 480, this is 24. 30 into 480, 16. So if you want to consume everything on Oreos, there should be 24. Everything on vinegar, there should be 16. So our answer was what? 24. The same question, if we're dealing with the budget which was increased or was manipulated, the price changed from 30. Okay. Okay, I'm out of time. But this other part was giving us what? 16 for the other part. How many, if we're going to consume all of the other part, we got 16. Okay, so this is how this question is supposed to be answered. Thank you so much for your time. So we are done with the test revision.